Hi readers, we are back with another Natasha Preston review. I mentioned a while ago I have 3 finished that I have not gotten around to reviewing yet. So, this is my review of The Twin. This is also an interesting one because I've talked about this. All of her books have flowers in them. I've got a couple others right here. Flowers on the dock. Flowers on the chair. Those are others I'm going to get to reviewing soon. This is the first one, as far as I'm aware, where there's very obvious violence being done to the flower. So, I thought that was interesting. Also, one of the characters' names in this book is a flower. It's not this flower, though. It's a different flower. But this is, I would say, and I did say this about the Dare as well. I said that the Dare was kind of the most different, because it was about concealing an action that was done rather than uncovering who's causing things. This one is very different in a different way. As you may be able to tell from the title, it's about twins, and they had been separated when they were younger, when their parents divorced, but their mother has recently died, so Iris has to move in with Ivy and her dad, or their dad, and it starts off kinda okay-ish, and then things start to go downhill quickly, and it's very interesting. I feel like this one, in a lot of the others, is a lot more physical torture. In The Lost especially, there's so much torture in that one, which I have not reviewed yet, but there's like physical murders, physical pain, blood, whatever things. This one is so much more psychological warfare, I guess might be the best way to put it. It's so infuriating in a different way than her other books, because most of her books I'm fine with almost all of it, and the ending is what makes me upset. This one, I'm so mad on the protagonist's behalf for, like, the entire thing. And the other thing that I think I did actually allude to this when I mentioned this book in a different review and said I'd talk about here. The ending of this one is interesting, because it did still bother me, because I was like, oh no, not that, that's not right. But I could very easily write myself 2 more pages mentally that fix the entire thing, which I have not really been able to do with some of her other books. They have been very much like, okay, so someone just died and there's no indication of who, or now this person's trapped again in a different way, or now this person, like, their life is destroyed irreplaceably or irreparably, whatever words are. Like, those kind of things have definitely happened. And those are situations where the book just leaves me annoyed about it. This one, I'm definitely annoyed about the ending, but I'm more annoyed at the character and less at the author for leaving it like that. Because there is kind of this out where I was able to be like, yeah, okay, but this fixes it. And I'm not gonna say what my ending would be because I don't want to give it away, but I will just say in very vague terms, security cameras with microphones. So, for anyone who wants to read this, that will give you a hint of how to fix the ending for yourself. Because honestly, it was a good book. And the ending upset me, and I was mad about the characters a lot. But in a way that wasn't quite the same, like, betrayal of the author ended this in a really bad way, and more of like a, these characters are awful, or this character. Sort of some others. And it's also interesting because at first it isn't clear if a murder has actually occurred, because the mom has died, but it's, as far as everyone knows, an accident. Which is also interesting because a lot of her other ones, pretty early on it's clear that there is a murderer with the intent of murdering, or kidnapper with the intent of kidnapping in The Lost. But I found this one interesting because it's not until later in the book whether you find out whether or not several people's deaths were intentional. And it's really hard to talk about this one without giving spoilers, because I feel like this is also kind of similar to The Dare, where the protagonist kind of is onto it, and it's other people that are either in denial, misinformed, manipulated, where kind of the whole time she's trying to tell people, like, hey, this is happening, this is a problem, and they're the ones being like, no, it's like, you're being traumatic, your mom just died, it's all grief, like, go to your therapist. Which, I feel like it bothered me so much that no one, like, believed the person that they knew for longer. Because it's like, it's so hard to imagine myself in that situation, because one, I don't have a twin, and two, like, I've never gone through an experience like what they have with losing their mom and everything. But I feel like if I was genuinely to my parents or my best friend, like, something is really wrong, and I know I've been acting a little weird because this really big thing just happened in my life, but, like, this is wrong, I would hope that they would believe me. Or my boyfriend, if I had one, which the character in this does. Like, I would hope that that person believes me if I had a partner. Like, it bothered me so much because it makes sense if, like, a couple people are like, oh, we'll give this other person the benefit of a doubt. Like, you guys both just lost your mom and stuff is chaotic, like, it will calm down. But for every single person to turn on the person they've known longer and be like, you're the one causing the problem, it bothered me a lot, because I'm like, that is so messed up, and none of these people are good friends. And it did such a good job of creating a sense of hopelessness and like futility, because I feel like in a lot of her other books there's kind of like a, well, if we can just find who's doing it and stop them, it will get better. If we just like solve this, if we get out, if we whatever it is for the given book that it is. In this one, it's like she knows, she's trying to tell people, she's trying to protect herself, she's trying to do all of that, and she's asking for help, she's trying to kind of save herself from the situation. No one's helping her, no one is believing her, no one's taking her seriously, and everything that she tries to do, everything that she thinks she's getting closer or succeeding, a lot of it ends up backfiring in ways that just make her feel so trapped in the situation, and that the reader can really feel the sort of hopelessness, futility, like, yeah, and if you do go tell someone, like, how are you gonna, like, they won't, what if they don't believe you either? And just that sort of sense of, like, is there even a point to continue trying to get help or try to fix things? And I just, the ending makes me so angry at the characters, which is different than a lot of her other books where I'm angry at the author, like I said, because every character in this book kind of sucks, other than the protagonist. The protagonist's mom who died seems pretty okay too, and then there's another character that I can't talk about for spoilers, but pretty much every character in this book sucks. Therapist sucks, the sister sucks, the friends suck, the school people, they all suck. But I did actually really like this one. I feel like it's, so many of her books get kind of similar, when it's like, there's a murderer around, who is it? Everyone thinks it's this person, I don't, kind of thing. There's always, like, a sense of isolation, there's always a sense of, am I going to be a target in a lot of the other ones? But this one is so much less like that, because it's not even so much the fear of, like, someone's killing people and what if I'm next? It's more like, this is really messed up and I don't know how to fix it, like, this is ruining my life, this is, like, everything's going wrong and no one's there to help, even though I have perfect access to police, I have perfect access to friends and family who suck, which is why they're not helpful. I have perfect access to a therapist. I'm not actively being hunted by a killer as far as I know. Like, it's different, and it's really, really good. And I talked to another classmate who also has read some of her books, and I mentioned that this was the one I was reading right now, and she was like, oh yeah, that one's crazy. Like, I read that one, and it was insane. And I agree with that sentiment. This is definitely a very roller coastery book, because I feel like a lot of her other books, and this may just be because I've read so many now that I kind of know somewhat her sort of style. Like, I feel like The Island and The Fear, And I guess the lake as well. They kind of started at a point where it's like, okay, someone showed up dead. We're gonna try and find who did it. Might be this person, not sure. Linearly to like, okay, well. And I can't finish that sentence without giving spoilers, but like, okay, well, they're dead, someone else is dead, everyone's dead. Like, it kind of goes from, like, person dies to, like, escalating to protagonist is dead, falsely accused, dying, someone else is dying, whatever it is for the given book, or implied to be dead. Nothing ever gives closure on whether the person's dead. This one is such a roller coaster, though, because at first it's like, oh, maybe this is okay. Something's really wrong here. Well, but that is, like, a valid thing. Like, the mom just died. But then, oh, no, it's worse. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Is it a little better? Can we work on that? No, it's even worse now. Like, it's such a... It's not even so much plot twists, I would say. It's just, like... I feel like the character kind of gets, like, false hope of, like, maybe things will get better. No, they really won't. Which then adds to the futility of the whole scenario, because they're, like, starting to be a little hopeful, but then they're like, no, it's all going wrong, it's very bad. But it's such a good book. I really wish I could talk more about this book, because, again, like, it's fascinating. It's so hard not to spoil it. And it's one that I really don't want to spoil, because I feel like the ending was kind of unexpected. I will say what my theory was, actually, because I did have a theory of what might happen. It did not. I thought that this book might end, or at least at some point have the protagonist run away. And that did not happen. But I was like, if I was in that situation, well, it's hard because I haven't been, but I feel like if I was, and I did have that feeling of, like, no one here is taking this seriously, I know something's wrong and no one's listening, I would potentially just leave all the people who are not helping me and try to go somewhere else and sort of start over and see if things get better. And, like, I kind of thought that that might happen, or that she would try to do that at some point. That's not what happened at all. But yeah, I really liked this book. I definitely think that it's really hard to necessarily compare it to her other books that are different, but in terms of the ending, it's nice to be able to have an ending where, yes, the ending isn't good, but I could fix it for myself and kind of flip the outcome a little bit in, like, if there was another chapter or another couple pages, here's what would happen. It's fixed. Which I feel like I can say that without giving away too much. But I am definitely curious if anyone else has read this book, what your thoughts are on it. And it makes me want a sequel to this book. Like, a lot of her other books, I'm just like, that ending was awful. Like, this, how dare you betray me like this? I thought they were gonna get away. I thought this was gonna happen. This is so bad. I feel like I talked about this in The Cabin, where The Cabin ends in a way where it's set up like, okay, like, stuff's gonna be a lot harder for you, but also not implied. Someone is dead, but not the person. Anyway. I feel like The Cabin was another one where it's like, if I had written another chapter, if I'd written like an epilogue to that book, it would fix the ending. And this one, I feel like I finished it and automatically I like had the ending fixed for myself already, because as I was reading the last chapter, I kept thinking like, this isn't gonna be something that character gets away with. Just because of the setting, which is hard to, again, not spoil. But I was like, this situation, they're gonna get caught, they're gonna know, and then the protagonist will have justice for everything that they have been saying the whole time being actually proven to actually have been true. And it was so close. She could have written that part, but I had to write it for myself mentally. But yeah, I feel like this one and The Cabin both were endings where it's like, this works if there was just a little bit more afterward. I still think that in that afterward, she should get rid of all of her useless traitor friends and make other friends, because they all suck that they didn't believe her the whole time. But I think I will end this review here. I think I've said pretty much as I can without spoiling. I think this is probably in my top 3 Natasha Preston books, though. So far. I haven't finished all of the ones I have. At least based on ending. Just ending and how the ending made me feel. This is my favorite ending because it was so easy to come up with an ending that fixed it all. So it isn't her ending, but the way that it ended allowed that, and I feel better. So, let me know if you've read this book. Let me know what you're reading. Please consider subscribing because it really helps me out. And I will see you next time, and thank you all so much, and keep reading. Bye!